a very interesting meeting. Tell us about it.
Yes, hello, real estate pros. Today we were at the CCIM conference talking about commercial real estate. Very interesting. It was a gathering of some of the biggest and brightest minds in South Florida real estate, and we're going to give you a recap.
Hmm.
So let's start with where do you want to start, Floyce?
Let's start with the don't be invisible.
Well, yeah, let's back up and start with well, let's recap. We went down. It was
Yeah.
down in downtown Fort Lauderdale,
Yeah.
right? Actually, in Wilton Manors, just north of Fort Lauderdale, and it's a conference. I believe it's a quarterly conference with CCIM, and there was a keynote speakers on stage when we got there a little bit late, and it was Beth Azor in the middle, and she is called the
No,
canvassing
she
queen.
was one of the speakers, but the keynote was Massimo.
Well, that was the keynote,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
panel,
The panel, yeah, the panel
there were
speakers.
three panelists and there was a moderator. So they were seated. We have some video that we're going to show you, but the three panelists were is it Beth Azor in the middle, and they call her the canvassing queen, and she has really cornered the market on uh, commercial shopping centers,
Hmm.
I think a strip malls, smaller spaces, strip malls and smaller retail spaces all up and down A1A and some of the most prime real estate in South Florida. In primarily, I got a feeling it's Miami, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, that's Fort Lauderdale, and then West Palm Beach, West Palm County, which is West Palm Beach.
But you can Google her and see the service areas that she covers.
So then to either side of her were two um, capital investment. They were each the principals of a capital investment firms that are investing heavily in commercial real estate in South Florida, and they had some very interesting takes
Yeah,
on.
there was one gentleman that was, I think, investing up north here in Pompano Beach, and he had some very good insights. Then the other one was also a good. I think I got a lot from him. We are still digesting on some of those notes, but we want to go straight to the keynote speaker, Rod Massimo, because um, coaching and marketing, they always goes cross path, and it's the same thing,
Right, and
really.
his name is actually, you can look him up. He wrote 5 books. His name is Rod Santomassimo,
Yeah,
and his coaching group is called Massimo.
yeah,
Massimo
the
Group.
Massimo group.
The Massimo Group. Very high end. The highest earner in his group was doing 18 million a year. He said
Mm, good.
that's revenue they were earning. Well,
Net.
that's not gross revenue. That's net.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very high end earners, and he was coaching them and had some really good insights. Uh, the way that he packaged it up and made a really tight framework of 13 points that he went through was very valuable. And we're going to follow up with another live and detail those 13, but we're just going to highlight a few of the takeaways because we're just back from it now. And so, Floyce, what was the number one takeaway? I think it was point 7.
Yeah, don't be invisible.
What
Stay
we always
visible.
say,
Yeah.
and he pointed out, don't be invisible. This is
His perspective was you got to do digital, you got to do physical, and you got to do personal touches.
and we wrote down here, it's not enough to be good,
Yeah.
you must be visible. And he broke it down into a presence pyramid, Floyd, right?
Yeah.
At the top of well, let's start at the base. The base of the pyramid is digital. That's your base. That's your content, your intel posts, your videos, what we would also call the top of the funnel. A lot of things that we talk about to be present and just show up in the marketplace and get attention. Number 2 is physical. This is the
Mailers.
second step on
Yeah.
the pyramid. This is physical, direct mail, events, conferences, mailers, market reports, things like that, right?
Mhm.
And then what was at the top of the pyramid?
Personal.
Personal is where deals happen. Lunches, calls, direct outreach, actual one-to-one conversations.
Yeah.
So the first two are the base is really one to many, The second one, mailers, conferences, is one to some. And I would describe the third one as one to one if you want to think about it that way. Good framework.
Yeah, that is good to establish, where you're at in your business and what you're doing. But I also caught, I'm referring to some of the screen grabs that I was able to capture, is he told us to ask ourselves three questions. The first one being, how do I stop living deal to deal? Am I in the chase level? Am I dependency on the dependency level? Am I in the opportunistic level, or am I under control, which is the highest level of that question? And then the second question here was, how do I create a platform where I make significantly more money in less time? Right?
Systems.
Right? Am I an employee at the very lower level? Am I a solopreneur? Second level. Am I a team leader? Third level. And then the very highest between 8 to 9 and 10 is the CEO level. Then the last question here was, how can I be viewed as a dominant market expert and be sought out? The lowest level is invisible. All right. The second level after that is commodity. And then the third level is resource. And then at the very top is dominator, which is where everybody wants to be. So once you ask yourself those three questions and you answer where you're at, then scale up to the next level until you get to the very top. I think this was a good nugget to to really digest on for most realtors, for most brokers that were in the room. Next is prune your pipeline.
One of the other nuggets, yes.
Hmm.
I thought this was a great point. This is one of the 13. He called it his baker's dozen.
Hmm.
Number 8 was prune your pipeline. And Massimo sent Mr. Santa Massimo said it bluntly: your pipeline is your bloodline, and your most valuable asset is your time. So he had a practical formula for this. Once a week, move one relationship or transaction forward.
Yeah.
And next, voice. Number 2, monthly. So weekly, you're moving one relationship or transaction forward. Monthly, number 2, remove at least 2 prospects.
Oh, that's good.
That's good, right? We're all guilty of this. Pruning your pipeline, removing, not just adding, but removing at least 2 prospects.
And when you talk about removing, Steve, because in residential, we are very keen to make sure that you're doing a proper edit. And sometimes when agents hear remove, it's like delete it, forget it. No,
Right.
it's remove it from the pipeline that it's been stuck on for a very long time and put it in the appropriate one. Maybe put it to cold where you just, generically nurture it, but you cannot keep giving it the same time you're giving to other ready to go leads, warm or hot. So if you're still trying to contact them for maybe a month or so, move them to somewhere else so that they don't get in the way of your marketing efforts.
This is a great point because we get asked this a lot. Should I delete this person from my database, voice?
No, because you remember the conversation about
What,
inactive leads?
what do we always say? No. By pruning your pipeline doesn't mean that you delete them from your entire database.
No.
What it means is you demote them from warm or hot to cold or ice cold.
Yeah.
Or I call it cold nurture. So you can still put them on a cold nurture status, but you're pruning them from the warms and hots where you're getting the most
So that you
attention.
focus, yeah, so you focus your energy on what's
Yeah.
what's viable for your business. And
And then number 3, so number 1 was weekly, move one relationship or transaction forward. Number 2 is monthly, remove at least 2 prospects from warm or hot. Number 3 is quarterly.
fire at least one client.
Ooh, that's a gut
Because you don't want
punch,
to be a chaser though.
right?
Even for us entrepreneurs, that's a yep, that's a gut punch right there. You gotta think, is the time and the money worth it, or do you move
Right.
towards where the business is making sense for you?
So this is the way big businesses run their business, and this is the way we, as independent or solopreneurs or small teams, have to think. We can't just hoard prospects; it creates emotional clutter.
Mm.
Brokers who prune, prioritize, and follow up with intention
Yeah.
are able to scale.
Hmm.
Really good stuff.
Ooh, this is one of my favorite one because I know I get on you a lot on this. Say no and delegate.
You have to say no. And the point that he was making here was figure out what your time is worth. You can figure
Yeah.
that number out by taking your revenue, your total take home, your net revenue at the end of the year, okay? And divide that by the number of hours, figure out the number of hours a week
Mhm.
that you work. Maybe you work 30 hours a week, maybe you work 60 hours a week. But take that number, figure out how many hours are in a year, divide that by your net income, and you got your hourly rate.
Yeah. So
So
how much
then
is it worth for you?
his point was if your hourly rate is, let's say, $500 an hour, uh, you have to think, is what I'm working on
Gonna give me that.
worth $500 an hour?
Yeah.
If I can get somebody to do it for less than that, why am I doing it?
Mhm. That part.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, and you can outsource some of these services that you find yourself doing as a broker or as a realtor. If it's CRM maintenance, database management, all that stuff, you can delegate some of these tasks. Like you're not caught in the weeds, and you dedicate. He recommended dedicate 4 hours of your day, the first 4 hours of your day, to work on the business
Instead of in the business.
instead of in the business. So if you got 500 an hour is what your hourly rate is, so 4 hours, that's how much? That's 2,000, right?
Can you hire someone for less than that to do the task
A
you're working
day,
on?
a day.
Yeah.
So do the math. I think those are good.
He
Good
gave three
insights.
examples too
Yeah.
of how to delegate this. The examples he gave were Upwork to find freelancers. That's where
Yeah.
freelancers can be found online. Number two was a VA company that he recommends called
Superpowers.
Superpowers.
Yeah, that's I
So
think it's
this
in the
is
Philippines.
virtual assistants. I think most of them are in the Philippines, but not all, right? And you got to be. We've learned though over
Oh,
the years that you have to be really careful. If you hire a virtual assistant, you have to have a system to plug him or her into. There must be SOPs, standard operating procedures.
mhm.
There needs to be clearly defined roles and tasks, and even more importantly, goals. What KPIs, key performance indicators, are they expected?
And I think the mistake that most agents make, that we've seen over the years, is hiring a VA to sort of be like your affordable marketing agency. Your VA, unless they are skilled and certified for that task that you're hiring them for, that does not replace a marketing company agency or your marketing efforts. You gotta either know what you need for your business, understand your CRM enough to delegate. Remember, the word here is delegate, meaning you know how to do it, but you don't want to spend all your time doing it. You want someone else to do it because then you can instruct better. The problem comes when you get a CRM or a system that you don't spend time understanding it, and then people say, "Oh, hire this one. They've worked with that CRM." All businesses are not the same because your clientele is different from the other realtor. As much as they're all in real estate, maybe and using Lofty CRM per se, maybe for residential, right, Steve?
Right.
So just plugging them in because they also know how to use Lofty doesn't mean that VA is gonna execute. You gotta be able to define your ideal customer, what you do for this customer, and what you want to offload to the VA, and what you want to own and take for the 4 hours that will make you 2 grand a day.
Floyd, you make a great point here, and I want to just highlight this and make sure that the point is made.
Mhm.
How many times have we seen brokerages or team leaders hire VAs and try to expect them to do the role of a marketing agency?
Multiple times, and it
All
ends
the
up
time.
it always backfires
It
because
never works. I think
if
I've seen it work
yeah,
once
yeah.
in all the years we've been doing it.
But for the ones that it works for, the agent knows their system like the back of their hand, and they're able to delegate.
And even then, they're not bringing any strategy.
Yeah, They're just
They're going to do what you tell
they're
them to
just doing
do.
what you tell them
We've
to
seen
do.
one or two that were very skilled,
Yeah.
more than most, and were able to do some high level skills of marketing tasks and to dos,
Yeah.
but they're not bringing the strategy.
No,
That's
they're
what you hire
not.
an agency for.
Yeah. All right. So that's what's up with that. And I believe if you start really looking at your business and where you want the goals, he also talked about having goals. You need three goals. Three, if you have four, that's too many. If you have less, that's a few. So you gotta have at least three goals, right?
Mhm.
Every year that you meet and check off.
Right. And he asked people in the audience, how many goals do you have? Some people said 5, some said 2, and he recommended having 3 core goals at any given time. He said 2 wasn't enough, and 5 is too many. You got too many plates spinning, so 3 is a good number.
Let's
Good advice.
let's go to the next one, which is great. Keeping the
Another
score.
another point of his baker's dozen
Uh-huh.
was number 10, keep score.
Yeah.
And we're going to circle back to number 1 in a minute. So stay tuned for that. But number 10, great point again, keep score. He had a bunch of a dashboard with dials,
Yeah.
but you should be having metrics that you're tracking and most importantly, checking conversion points on your pipeline. We talk about this a lot, right, Floyd?
Yeah.
Each stage of the pipeline is a conversion point. So how many people came in that didn't know you at all and came in as a new lead? And then how many of those people converted to a phone call or a conversation?
Yeah.
10%, 5%, 3%, 15%, 50%,
Yeah.
whatever that number is. Now you need to go out and get this many cold leads from a cold audience to convert into conversations. And then how many of those conversations proceed to the next stage, which might be, in the case of commercial real estate, they downloaded your OM, or they responded to one of the listings or leases that a triple net lease maybe that you were making a public and trying to find a suitable client. Did they respond? 10%, 5%, 3%. Each one of those is a checkpoint along the customer journey, it's called, or the pipeline.
And here was the insight that if you don't track this, if you don't track calls, proposals, meetings, follow ups, content, networking, you cannot fix what you can't see. So you gotta track them, have a grid for calls, for meetings, for proposals, for follow ups, for content, for networking, and have scores every single month. How many of those have you done? Then see what's lacking and double down on that. Um, then I'm moving on to number 11.
Number 11 of the baker's dozen of 13 is invest in your greatest asset, you. He talked about an ignorance tax.
Hmm.
Another gut punch, right? So he actually had a formula, very interesting formula. If you want to go big, he said, write down the number that you're currently making and the number that you want to make next year, which would be 2026 for us. Right now, we're at the end of 2025 here as we record this. So in 2026, what did you make in the past year?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you want to make next year? What's your goal? And figure out what that gap is. So let's say you made 200K this year. Next year, you want to make 500K. The gap is 300K. You multiply that by 3, you got $900,000. That's your cost of not leveling up, or your ignorance tax. Your cost of not knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So your take, your final thoughts on this?
So we're going to go have a final thought and summary on this. But before we do, we promised to circle back to the number one.
Ooh.
The number one in the 13-point framework for Rod Santomassimino, one of the top.
Massimo.
His group is called Massimo. His name is Rod Santamassimo, though.
Yeah.
You can look him up. And he has 5 books. He's one of the top commercial real estate coaches in the business. Number one,
Ding ding ding.
reactivate past clients. We're all
But
guilty of
number one was
this.
custom actually, was calendar actually, and then we
I
activated.
don't know what number it was, but that was
You
the
started with the calendar.
okay. We
Yeah,
lost.
but that was
We got
important
to go
too.
back on some of our notes.
Yeah,
But the number one takeaway that he wanted everyone to do was to reactivate, re-engage
yeah.
your
You're
past
inactive.
clients.
You're inactive.
What did he call it? Inactive past
Inactive.
customers.
Yeah, inactive past customers, because that's where the money is at, and that's the most ignored bucket of all your leads, because they're inactive, Steve. They're not doing anything. Why do I need to follow up with them? Do it anyway, because if you're dropping value every time you follow up and not always asking, guess what? They will respond to something. And if they're not interested at all, they'll say, take me out. And it's fine. Don't freak out when people tell you, I don't want to hear from you anymore. That's fine, because remember, you're cleaning up your database and you're defining your ICP.
Which was another one of his points that
Yeah.
knowing who your people are, avatars and ICPs, ideal customer profile. But we're going to save that for the next video. And we're going to wrap it on this one. I think a couple of these points, we're going to do a follow-up video on just that.
Yeah.
Particularly reactivating your database. But we're going to just leave you now with some final thoughts and wrap this up. The commercial brokers, and not just commercial brokers, this is residential brokers, residential agents, even small business people, entrepreneurs, big brands, everyone. In 2026, you're going to win if you're visible. You have to stay visible in this business landscape. You just have to. You cannot hide behind your systems. You can't hide behind referrals only. You can't be a secret. You've got to be out there. So that's number one. Number two, you got to track the right metrics. There's lots of tools now and analytics that we can measure everything, and that's how you grow. You can't improve on what you can't measure. You can, but it's difficult. And number three, prune aggressively. This was a good one. I thought it was really. You don't hear a lot about this, but actually pruning your pipeline instead of, you always hear about adding more to it. But pruning, great point. Leverage delegation. You hear this a lot. Outsource or hire people or delegate. And then number five, invest in yourself. This one is, again, you hear a lot about this because it's so true. Invest in yourself, your time, invest money, invest in systems, invest in people, invest in leverage, invest in media. In residential, a lot of residential real estate people don't leverage paid media. They don't want to spend money on advertising. They'll pay for a lead from Zillow, which is basically a lead vending machine, for someone that doesn't even know you or your brand, and you're competing with three other people that are getting a phone call maybe at the same time. But you won't invest in paying for leads that come only to you and building your brands.
And speaking of staying visible, I'll end on this note, Steve. Remember on our way to the conference, right at the light before we turned, there was a bench with an ad, and it was a real estate professional. She had her bench ad there, and I think it was made of foam core. I think we
Yeah,
kind
I
of
noticed that instead of being painted on or physically adhered onto the concrete bench,
it was
the
just
plastic of the bench, it was just a piece of foam core that was stuck in there, like outdoor temporary material, and people had punched holes in her.
no. You didn't even, because I was on the passenger side. I'm a passenger princess. I saw somebody was literally putting off the cigarette, like on the like defacing it.
Mhm.
So if you're on her face, and this is so bad, I it's not funny, but also on the QR code, because she had her face, her name, her phone number. Literally, there's a guy that literally, I don't know what they were thinking. They put like holes in the number 4, and another one had a 5. They put holes in it, and they if you're investing your visible dollars, your visible marketing dollars, do it wisely, you know, because that's she probably spent a lot of money on that,
Yeah.
and maybe that's her game. That's all she wants to do. So you gotta do not just one thing. If you do benches and do some Facebook ads within that area that you have a bench. Just make sure you're double dipping to see what performs better, because physical things that you put up, they're exposed to the elements, and you get what you get.
So I think she did good by investing in advertising,
Yeah,
but you got to pay attention to
the
the
dons.
channels of
Yeah,
advertising too. And you might be thinking, I'm a real estate person. This isn't my
Mhm.
expertise. Exactly. That's why you hire a good marketing agency.
Yeah.
That's their role, is to help you make good decisions of where to spend your marketing time and dollars,
Yeah.
and where it's going to be best spent.
Mhm.
Now she might have had a good location and all the traffic
Yeah.
coming down there might have been good, but a good agency, we would have asked what material is it being printed on, how long is it, what's the quality assurance, are people going out there once a week and checking that it's not defaced, which this was.
Yeah.
It was pretty badly defaced
Yeah.
actually.
The phone number,
They even
her face,
they
the
blocked out
QR code was like, I mean, I could scan somehow, but I bet you in the next 2 3 weeks, it's not gonna look pretty. So just you remember to audit your marketing dollars where they're going.
And Floyce, I couldn't help but wonder if this particular real estate agent was also investing in digital. Like, would this person be also investing in Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads
Most of them, most likely,
that
they
target that area?
yeah, they do, and some
Yeah.
don't. And I'll tell you why. Because just because it's a physical, visible billboard, some of them see, oh, I'm seen everywhere. A bench and a bus wrap or a vehicle wrap, it all depends. You're betting on people's attention if they're looking up in traffic, or if traffic stops, or if the bus stops to pick up people, then other people can see. Like, you gotta make sure that you have multiple ways to put your face out there, not just bet on just one or two things that are traffic dependent, right?
Right.
That could actually cost you more than a simple Facebook ad, a YouTube ad here and there. Put your face on it with a video and see what happens.
Another pro tip, if you do invest in advertising, which this particular agent did do good to invest in advertising, but again, why you would hire a marketing agency was I could tell that this agent got the ad, the bench ad directly from the bench company.
Company, yeah.
She didn't hire a professional designer to do the layout, which was subpar. It had a picture of her, but it was real tiny. You couldn't see her very well. It should have been a big face that fills the whole frame. There was too much negative space. The copy was hard to read. It was not an optimized layout.
Yeah.
And most people don't know, Floyce, when you get a billboard ad or a bus ad or a bench ad directly from the company, they have an in-house art department, but they're just trying to fill the space. They're going to throw anything in there because they're really selling space.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to have the right message, the right layout, the right imagery that's going to compel people. It's going to capture attention.
And the right
compel
elements that are on the eye level.
the right call to action,
Yeah.
the right colors, the right laying it out, the right eye level. Like exactly right. It actually was at the eye level for an average sedan car because we saw it.
But
It
a
was
truck,
right
you
near
would-
red lights. The
yeah.
location was good, but again, that's why you hire a marketing agency. These are what we specialize in, marketing agencies.
All right. So
Time to wrap it up.
thank you for having us. This was Friday. We just wanted to get that out there when it was fresh in our mind, and I
We're
think
going to
this
do
was
a more
yeah.
detailed,
Yeah.
a deep dive on this. But we literally just came back from this conference, and we wanted to share.
And thank you so much. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. And if you are interested in any of our video products for CRE customers, go to justvideo.com.
That's it. We'll see you on the next one. Make sure you tune in to Just Video It or Chime Nerds on all social channels.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.